Hello everyone, welcome back to Day One Dev. And today we're going to talk about the pipeline, how to build the entire Docker pipeline using a JF CLI and the various steps in the pipeline. So as we discussed in previous video where we talked about entire Jenkins pipeline, and I showed you how to use Artifactory script or using a Jenkins pipeline, and how to do it in a UI. So today we're going to talk about how to do in a bigger picture the overall action items, how we're going to do the sequence of our steps. All right. So let's keep that momentum moving, and it should be a shorter video today's one because of already we discussed this part. All right. So let's start with our first step. So any Jenkins pipeline you started always start with a set the start, and it's a pretty much an UML format flow diagram. And you have a pre-steps where you configure your secrets in Jenkins or any GitHub actions, and you define a config file, and you define some environment variables, what are you needed, for example, like consider as a web application, and you define some Docker config, like your host name and user ID passwords. For example, if you are using Artifactory, then this will be Artifactory path. So that way, any push happens, it will be pushed to that Artifactory. Right. Then coming to the stages, you check out your code, and then you're doing an audit for your FOSS, which is a freeware, free and open source software. You're doing, if it's a Maven project, Java project, you do a -- MVN, or if you're a Node project, just put in a -- NPM, or even you don't need to. That's not a required, but it's good. The package will not look for its own detection. Right. So then you do a Maven build, which is standard MVN clean install. There's no difference. And make sure that wherever you see this Xray, you have to be not just Artifactory customer, you have to be also Xray product you might be using it. So if you are part of an any product like a Pro X or Enterprise X, if you see as part of your license, it has an X, that means default you're getting an Xray software licenses. So make sure that if you're part of that, then it's good to practice this one. Then after you build your package, you do a scan and just on a call out JF CLI, which is a freeware. Just do a Google, you should find a URL where you can install most of our languages it supports, our OS platform, and I said Linux, Windows, Mac, all the places it will support. Then use a Docker command. If you are not do not have a license for your Docker, mostly you might be using a Podman, or if you're on Rancher desktop, it is also comes with an Docker, or you can use any CIRO commands. JFrog has all these commands, shows you on what all they supported. Then once you create an image, you tag image based on what are the host name and it is C name you're providing it and build name ID. This is one of a practice I do always, so that way I can map it based on my which build I do it. So and also a tag called a latest, so that way always I'm pushing a latest. Then I push to artifact or the Docker image to my repository. Then after I push it, then definitely I'll do a scan of my Docker, making sure that the base image has no vulnerabilities. So every stage of a scan, it's totally different stages. So you can see here, it's always this scan this includes also your base image, right? Then after that, you're collecting your environment variables. Like for example, if you build it on your local, it knows what kind of information has been captured, like you build it on a Unix or Linux, or you build it on a Mac or what it is. So in my scenario, I run this, most of the stuff on my Mac system on my personal. So I do capture all the stuff. Then I document this as a VCS. So the package needs to have a reference of which repository you're getting it. So this helps you to track that. And then once you do it, you're creating a Docker build image. So just based on your hash information, it's picking up and you're creating this part. Then finally, you're going to do a build this part. So there are a few commands. If you don't see anything like a Docker, there are common steps for your Java Spring Boot applications or Python or Maven. And then finally, you do again scan of your build scan. The reason we always suggest this is there is a build publish. There's a if you can combine a group of projects as part of a build publish. It doesn't need to have only a single package or Java project. If you have an web application, the front end, if you consider this a front end, and you have a microservice, and you can combine both, has to go on the same time you release. Both you can package them as a build publish, and you can promote them to a next stage. So once you create it, that's where the release bundle, you're grouping them together, and you're promoting the two packages, which is your front end and a backend microservice, and you're promoting them to from new to dev. So you see here, if you zoom in, you should see here there's an array. This is where we're talking about multiple builds you can combine as a one release bundle. Then by default, it will end up in a state new. Then we need the sign key, GP key. You have to set it up in administration side. Then once you set it up, you promote to dev. Then you query some certain information. Based on that, you take action. Whether or if you don't want it, you do not have any condition like this. The reason sometimes I do this condition is if I'm building some library projects, then I do not need them directly to from a go to a QA. Directly, I can promote them to prod, and a team can use it in their internal. All right. And once you're done, what are the stage? End stage is a prod, and it promotes it, or it can from dev from QA, you can go to this QA prod. Then from QA, the pipeline ends. All right. This is how the entire pipeline stuff, and also I shared on previous video how to the entire pipeline job, which we already talked about this one, and also brought it up on our previous one. You can see here the entire stuff, the GitHub pipeline, which also are called out. Previously, the entire repository is under my repository. You should see all the stuff here. All right, and I hope you've seen a lot of information, and it's I hope you made a lot of good valuable information for you guys. And I'll see you in the next video. And till the time, please subscribe to Day One Dev, and I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.